interviews. He's done so many interviews, and I've loved them all. I've watched them all. And of course, with our boy, our man, Robert Phoenix, I think, to be honest with you, it's like one of my favorite ones. But there's just all these great morsels of wisdom and amazingness in all of his interviews, and he does like put clips up and whatnot. So it's like, yes. Anyway, I mean, the man speaks for himself, but for me, I'm like, oh my God. Just the love that this guy pours out, the truth. He's a warrior. He's a real warrior, not a charlatan, not a faker or oh God, I'm telling you. And it's not just because he's the inventor of email, which when we had our first appointment or interview meeting, it was literally because I remember knowing that it was August 30th, I believe, if I stand corrected, maybe not. And I'm like, oh my God. And the interview was going to be 2 days later anyway, but it was my bad. My bad. I already told you guys. My internet provider, Comcast, decided we're going to work on your area. I'm like, And then for whatever reason, he couldn't do it on the 19th. I think today's a very, very special day. It's October 3rd. Come on. Do you feel it in the air? It's in the air, dude. It's in the cosmos. It's happening. All right. Well, for those who don't know me, a quick intro, and I believe Dr. Shiva seems like he is in the house. So for those who are new, let's just do this quick intro and get the party started now. Hi, I'm Olga S. Perez, coming at you live, unleashing the power of perspective, one reaction at a time. I've been a life strategist for over 20 years, and I'm here to share my insights on trending topics, current news, and music videos that we all want to talk about with love and humor. And without further ado, please welcome the most amazing special guest, Dr. Shiva. Dr. Shiva.
Hey, Olga, how are you doing?
Oh my God, I couldn't wait till you said my name. I was just telling the audience, I'm like, I don't want to sound like a groupie over here, but I have listened to every article. Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me. Thank you for your kind words.
Oh my God. It's the first time I found you or saw you or knew you existed was when you did an appearance in Nino Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah.
And Laura Eisenhower.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
Yeah. The Dark to Light show. That was the first time I saw you. And I just remember thinking.
You couldn't handle some of the truth and poor thing.
Yes. I remember thinking, I'm like.
She started.
But it's so true. I'm like, Nino, man, you're
the show.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. You said what?
Yeah, she started doing shots.
Nah. I remember thinking, she sounds a little lit. Takes one to know one. So I'm like, no, Laura. Maybe she was also so verklempt and so nervous to have you. Anyway, but still, I just loved your passion. But whatever. You're running for president. But I thought, you know what? You're doing interviews back to back. You've been nonstop. And I'll be honest with you, I've noticed your voice has changed because you're talking all the time.
Yeah.
And it takes one to know one as a life coach, as a speaker. All the time, I'm like, I got my silent Sundays. I don't speak on Sunday because I need to.
Well, you got to take your vitamins, and if you're using your voice that much,
so God, there's so much to say. I mean, I got my little list of questions, but Robert really did a great job with you too. Like, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, he was great.
It was more conversive, and I really preferred that because you had so many of that typical, like, even with like the GOP debate and your questions with that and your answers. But I am into astrology, I got to tell you. And I looked you up and I'm like, oh, he's a Sagittarius, unless Wiki, because Wiki's wrong anyway. But I'm like, he's a Sag. But I really would like to know, you don't have to tell me now what time you were born to really, I want to know, like, what's your ascendant? What's your other side? Anyway, so I'm going to straight out the gate. Do you have any questions for me or do you want me to shoot?
No, let's just go.
All right. WEF.
Yeah.
The latest that it's been around Twitter and whatnot, or X, was about how, we're going to have to create another crisis. We're going to attack the water or do something with the water. Did you see that? What do you have to say about that?
Well, look, let's take a big picture back, right? The WEF and these organizations, it's a club, right? So most of the elites, or the swarm, as I like to call it,
Absolutely.
have to have a way that they bring all their people into alignment. And that's what the WEF is. This guy, Vivek the Snake,
Yeah.
was a he was honored by them. He waited until now to, take away or, fight against the so-called being made a part of one of the WEF Young Global Leaders Program. But I think the bottom line is the WEF and these organizations, and there's many of them, are essentially different networks where people connect together, right?
Hmm.
And they have a constant policy, or there's two ways. I mean, I'm going to do a talk this Thursday on the financial system. So there's two ways they control people, which is what we teach people and from a systems perspective, right?
Hmm.
One way is they control the money supply,
Right.
and a few bankers and the Fed knows how to do that. The other way is because when you control the money supply, you can create inflation or you can create deflation. The other way is you control the supply chain. And the supply chain is controlled by causing crises from time to time.
Right.
So that's what the WEF is, an instrument for creating crises as a need, right?
Hmm.
So if they need to create a pandemic, if they need to create some nuclear war, whatever it is, right? Or water crisis, whatever they want to do, they exist to create crises, which is the other input they can control into a system. And that's the way we really need to start looking at these guys. Their goal is power, profit, control. And you can't just look at the WEF alone, but they're part of this network, right? So if they don't use the WEF, they'll use the Council for Foreign Relations but the most potent thing that they use is the fact that they have the not so obvious establishment.
Mm.
People like Booby fucking Kennedy or Tulsi
Yeah.
Gabbard
How do you say that?
or Bernie Sanders, right? Or the talk show hosts. We're all a bunch of white liberals at the end of the day, be it Jimmy Dore or Fucker Carlson or all these people. So they have a policy of using these people so people never build a bottoms up movement.
Right.
So I would really like to, educate people to recognize that it is the bottoms up movement that they want to distract you from. And they don't want one of us, people from below, leading those movements. So they have to impose their will in obvious ways or not so obvious ways. And that's what's happening right now. They know we've been running as an independent. We're galvanizing, you said, with all the interviews we've been doing, so many people that Booby was meant to, that was, he's basically part of the swarm. So the goal
He
of,
is. Come on.
huh?
He is. Of course, Booby is. He's also part of the mafia of Kennedy's over there.
Exactly. But it's obvious. And when you look at his entire life, it's been essentially that of a, rich white boy, right? Quote unquote.
Where's
white
the
boy.
way? I mean, I've met these people and the way they talk and the way they treat women and the way they're just, it's so sticky. It's so vile. And I'm being nice.
Yeah. So, but that's what he represents. And I've had to do the dirty work of exposing him because every so often they create these people. This idiot, Jimmy Dore, who everyone thinks he's some fighter,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
moron was promoting Bernie Sanders for many years.
Yeah.
I was exposing Bernie Sanders for the last 20 years. There's a 2015 tweet, where I say Bernie's a shill for Hillary. And a lot of these liberal friends or people that I know were very upset. Oh, no, Bernie's a fighter. He's anti-establishment. He will never work with Hillary. Well, that's exactly what he did. And now they moved from Bernie 1.0 to Bernie 2.0, which is Booby. Booby is Bernie 2.0 because now that's a uniparty. So they have to create a dialectic to the uniparty. And that's what they always do. Once the establishment becomes one, they have to create another dialectic, you see?
Right.
And that's the role of Booby. And the other real witch in this is another spawn of Satan is Tulsi Gabbard.
Right.
Right. When you hear Tulsi Gabbard talk, there's no emotion. There's no human there. And, she's a lieutenant colonel now in the Army unit, which does psychological operations. So people need to understand that these people are just mouthing words because they're getting data over here. They have all these analysts telling them, okay, we can't have independent people owning the bottoms up movement. So they have enough people mouthing enough messaging. It's like they have a broad spectrum messaging platform to sucker people in. And none of those people mentioning any of those messages have anything to do with working people. So one guy will do the quote unquote, the right wing message. One guy will do the left wing message. One guy will do the anti-establishment message, but they all report to the same people, right? One person will act like he's a maverick or an innovator like Elon Musk, right? One person will act like he's a fake martyr, like, Tucker Carlson or Alex Jones. So they literally, it's like you're dialing into a channel but they own all the channels.
Mhm.
And that's the way people need to think about it. So anytime a truly independent voice like mine comes below, and we actually break news way before these guys.
Oh my God, when you exposed on Twitter, the back doors in Twitter.
Yeah,
I
it was
remember that during 2020
2020.
in live.
And every one of these people concealed it. Every
Yeah.
one of them, right? Because they cannot have an independent voice getting the news out, because even the truth they must control, right? In fact, they'll wear a hat called truth. They'll name things called Truth Social. They have nothing concerning truth. Truth is just a word that they're using to manipulate people into their very, very tight, narrow banded channels. And that's what people need to realize. Everything that comes out of their mouth has nothing to do with reality. And then they go back and they all party with themselves. They all bang each other. They're all part of the same incestuous swarm. And, you know, I've almost been like a quote unquote a Forrest Gump, because I've had access to these worlds. I never became part of them. But, you know,
You
I was
sell
given,
yourself.
yeah, many, many opportunities to sell out, and I never could, because I hate these people so much. And every time I gave them an opportunity, they always let you down.
Mhm.
But the bottom line is that they're all one. And the important thing is, Olga, is we exist. Our movement exists. It's taken me 50 years to put together the political theory to educate people, the vision, right? Getting people on the ground. We've created, you know, we have 500,000 people now globally in 120 countries. All of this is truly bottoms up. That's why they're freaking out right now. They're desperate. So they first say, "True, this fool." They had to find another brown-faced guy like me, Vivek the Snake, who
Vivek.
literally wears a hat. Truth. The guy's a Brahmin, brown-nosed, bullshitting, big pharma bastard in many ways.
He is. He is. I know. I looked.
He's a bullshitter. Okay.
Yep.
Anyone who follows him should have their head checked, because he's a snake oil salesman end to end. And so you have him that they tried, and we destroyed him. Then Trump has essentially been exposed for what he really is, you know, the quote unquote, the vaccine king. He's a big pharma guy. And Booby is a really slimy snake, you know, because
Didn't he
he,
have like a sex problem? Like the fact that he's, first of all, we had enough with Biden, who doesn't know where he's at. And then we're going to have this guy who's like, talking the whole time. I'm like, listen, even if he was a saint, I'm like, if I was going to put somebody in the front, it would not be him. Even if he had a good past, I'm going, you don't fit the bill. And yet they're pushing this guy only because the connection, that's a Kennedy thing.
No, the reason they're pushing him, Olga.
Go ahead, tell me.
Again, let me explain this very simply, okay? And people really need to hear this carefully. They understand a science called systems science. Okay, they study this. And the science of systems can be used to liberate people, or it can be used to shackle people and enslave people. It is a fundamental scientific, it's an engineering systems approach. I used to teach it at MIT. And you use it to, your thermostat runs, your autopilot works. Everything in the engineering world requires system science. Now you could use engineering system science to actually manipulate large amounts of people. And that's what they're doing. So how does it work? They have a goal, and then they're looking at, are they achieving their goal? Which is they get data every day. Okay, let's say our goal is to manipulate people to think that elections are absolutely wonderful and they all work, okay? But if they start getting a lot of data saying everyone's grumbling, and nowadays they can get data in microseconds, because all of the entire internet is bugged, all the data is analyzed, and within microseconds they can know what is this group of people thinking. So everyone needs to understand it's called part of predictive analytics. They have enough sensors, cameras, you know, all the stuff that they can analyze, text processing, that they can know within moment to moment, like a stock chart, are people angry with them? Are they with them? Are they breaking from them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to understand that they actually measure this data every freaking second.
I know.
And so if they know people are moving in the direction of Dr.SHIVA, independent, truly independent truth for the health movement, they say, shit, this guy who we cannot control, who we cannot buy out. So we're going to have to create somebody who mimics him like a chameleon.
Right.
Right? Because what they need to do is they don't care about truth or any of that thing. They just need to make sure they control the masses. So if there's a truly bottoms up movement that's galvanizing people on a message like shatter the swarm, the lesser of two evils is killing your children, right? You know,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and we're going direct, right? And I'll talk more about this.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that messaging has to be countered with the fake version of that message. So it's input, output. They see the output. Shit, everyone's going to follow Dr. Shiva. 500 million people saw our videos in 2020. This is dangerous because this guy's, he's not in our club. So they will create the fictitious version. It's like when you're going fishing, right? You can put the real bait on, or you can put a lure on, right? It's a fake version of it. So they have all these lures, and they know the working people in the United States, for that matter, globally, the working people actually work for a living, have had enough of these people. And every microsecond, they're monitoring that. As long as they have people corralled following one of their persons, it doesn't even matter if the guy's saying anything against them, as long as it's one of their guys. That's what Kennedy serves. That's what Bernie Sanders serves. That's what AOC serves. That's where Elizabeth Warren serves, right? That's where Trump serves. Trump was created because of white working class after Obama. By the way, nearly 60% of Trumpers voted for Obama. Very important data to remember.
That is true.
Right. And so they used Obama as a broad messaging. It's like messaging. It's like shamanic magic that they're doing, right? They use him to sucker people in, right? That's what they did. So what they need now to do, right? They need to recognize, okay, what are the messages? And they literally are creating a rainbow of messages, like the Baskin Robbins flavor. Okay, people want a brown guy because, right, who's saying anti-establishment. Let's create this guy Vivek. People want a guy who's truly against the establishment, right, and exposing big pharma. Will create a fool like Booby Kennedy, who actually his whole family, including him, actually wants to support pharma. They just want safe vaccines. You see?
Right.
Right? You see what I'm saying? But it's still not recognizing that the 1962 Vaccination Act should be repealed. Right? He's still in that lineage. Then they know that the white working class is fed up, so they have Trump for that. You see? And so on. So everyone needs to understand, literally, if you go to an ice cream store, they have all these flavors that they manufacture to keep you coming into the store.
Right.
And all of those flavors in the manufacturing, they control. And that's the essence of why all of these people exist. Because if they were not part of that same ice cream store, they wouldn't get any billing at all, positive or negative. But the fact that you see them on all the mainstream media says that they're part of the swarm. Because they know if they put me on mainstream media, it's over for them.
I know, but it's you called out Elon Musk when he was looking for a CEO. You tagged, you go, who's the most qualified to be your CEO? And then who does he hire?
And that went viral. And then when I started exposing the fact that he's part of the swarm and never removed the backdoor portal, my views go from 500,000 views down to 5,000. Meanwhile, Booby fucking Kennedy was bowing down and saying, oh, he's fighting censorship. Okay. So and all these conservative grifters, from James Woods to the squirrel guy, what's his name?
James Wood, the actor?
Yeah, James Wood, the actor, right?
Really? I thought he was the guy telling you
no,
because Hollywood's banned him and whatnot.
No, well, yeah, but this is the thing. They all choose sides, you see, but they're still within the rubric of the left or the right. James Woods, when he was all bowing down to Musk, and I was exposing Musk from day one when I got back on.
Yes.
And suffering for that, right? So then a lot of the Trumpers said, oh, Dr. Shiva, you're too critical. I'm going to unfollow you. Great. Fuck off, right? But then when Musk brought in Yacarino, who's one of the leaders from WEF, right? People are like, oh my God, Dr. Shiva was right. And James Woods is like, oh, I guess the party's over. He put out this tweet and I said, James, the party never began. Musk was always part of them. So it was a quote retweet that starts going viral. You know what Woods does? He deletes his tweet.
What? I didn't notice that.
He deleted his tweet. And the next day he says, I want to thank Elon. I suddenly got 100,000 followers. Okay. So my point is, people are being bought out.
People are horrible.
They're being bought off by views and clicks.
I keep saying this to everyone. I'm like, everyone's bought and sold.
As long as they're in one of the dialectic, if you're in the right and you're attacking the left, you'll get play. If you're the left, you're attacking the right, you'll get in. Right. But if you're attacking the entire swarm and you do it with articulation and, with credibility that I have, it's very dangerous. So the only things they have to intentionally conceal you to make you invisible. The problem is we got our message out to about 500 million people, I guess. So they have a serious problem because the more they try to make us invisible, people like you and others are saying, wait a minute, this is a guy who did all the hard work. He's the one who exposed the backdoor portal to Twitter, not all these morons, right? He's the one who exposed the election systems issue, the real issue, not these guys. And we did that with a lot of hard work, and everyone knows we did that hard work. So this is a huge opportunity for really engaging people to understand the systems dynamics, that all of these people are swarm creatures. And there's not a lot of them. I mean, you can put them in Tulsi Gabbard, Elon Musk, AOC, Fucker Carlson, Sadhguru, another fool, the guy with the turban that they promote, this Indian guru, Vivek the Snake.
Wait, Sadhguru or
his name is Sadhguru. There's a lot of,
right?
Yeah, he's a fucking.
Oh my God, he's like, we need less people on the planet. Like he's all about killing you.
He said we need to depopulate. He goes, we have too many feet. We have too many footprints. We must eliminate the feet.
I'm like, you are so vile. But then he's on his motorcycle. I'm like,
well, I met him at one of the Kennedys home when I used to live out in Malibu, right? They're all part of the same fucking clique. They all support you. I'm telling you,
they're all sleeping with each other. I'm telling you,
literally sleep with each other. Literally are the same thing. And if people knew how close they are, you would vomit. And yet, and the real dangerous people I know who try to conceal me the most are white male liberals.
The real white supremacists.
Jimmy Dore is a white fucking liberal. Tucker Carlson's a white liberal. Okay, they're so afraid to put me on their shows because they're the true racists. They hate real white people. They hate black people. They are basically
anybody that's not in their club.
Exactly. That's why we need to recognize that these people are really, really spawns of Satan. All of them.
They really. Thank you for saying that. I keep saying all the time, but no one else would be like, "Oh, come on." I'm like, no, it's all they're evil.
But I think we should define why they're evil, Olga. If you look at every one of these presidential candidates running, every single one of them is.
They're selected, aren't they?
They're selected, yeah, from day one. First of all, they're all Zionists. Okay, they love the butchering of the Palestinian people. They purposely conflate Judaism with Zionism.
Yes.
So first of all, they're Zionists. They all have to kowtow to people like Sheldon Adelson. He's passing his wife, or all these Zionist hoodlums. Zionism is racism in the service of imperialism. There's pictures that I put up with Tulsi Gabbard hanging around with Adelson's wife begging for money. Fucking booby fucking Kennedy's an ultra Zionist. Okay. Trump is a Zionist. Every one of them. Ron DeSantis is a Zionist. Every single one of them. So to me, that's a litmus test. And I'm the only presidential candidate who will call out Zionism, because Zionism has nothing to do with the Jewish people. It's unabashed racism in the service of global imperialism. So how can you say that you are for God and you believe in Christian values or Hindu values or whatever the fuck you think you want to use the word God, like Tulsi Gabbard does, right? Claims she's a Hindu, wears a little flower, Om Namah Shivaya. She can chant all the bullshit she wants. Yet she supports Zionist Israel, okay? She supports the Zionist industrial complex. She is the military industrial complex. So they create that character. No emotion in her face, nothing, right? Then they have Booby fucking Kennedy, who comes from a lineage of Zionism, who comes from a lineage of satanic people, right? JFK was a scumbag. His father, RFK, was a scumbag. Ted Kennedy right here killed a woman, a murderer, right? The entire family is a bunch of gangsters. This is organized criminals. Then you have Vivek the Snake and Nikki Haley, right? All these basically bougie Indians who know nothing about the everyday working people, be it the American working people, black, white, brown, whatever. No. They all top down, driven. So all of these people are actually satanic people because they use the word of God. And then they do everything against.
All great wars have started with the name of God, right?
Everything starts with God. Right. And the Brahmins in India always talk. So Brahmanism originally was if you were, you worked bottoms up and you learned knowledge. Later on, it became a caste system where you were born and suddenly you get to be a Brahmin. And that's the family that Vivek comes from. And they're taught to be slimy. So in India, they say if a snake is crossing the street or a Brahmin, kill the Brahmin first. Okay. Because they're super fucking slimy.
Yeah.
How slimy this guy is. He literally says one thing one day, says another thing the other day. He, says He's against affirmative action, yet he took the the Paul Soros Fellowship for affirmative action.
I
to
know,
get into
right?
Yale.
No, how about that? How about the drug he created that didn't work? Didn't his mother back him up or something?
Exactly. So here's a guy who he had to get his mother and his brother into a company. They knew it was a useless drug. They had the mother redo the data of the failed 4 clinical trials, put it out on Wall Street, say the drug worked. And then when the drug failed, they lost 99% in value. So this is satanic people. They act, and the reason they're spawns of Satan is that they actually think they're better than you.
Yeah, I know that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to say, I'm just, because this is what I preach all the time, even with my clients. When I go, do you really want to be happy? Do you want, and what's funny, because you have the Truth, Freedom, and Health, by the way, everyone, the link is in the description below. And so is his website. You guys got to sign up, join the movement. Sorry, Dr. Shiva, I'm not even trying to do a plug-in. It's just
No, Truth, Freedom, Health, by the way, those 3 words are directly related to 3 very, very powerful engineering concepts and deeply yogic spiritual concepts. Truth, freedom, health. Freedom is a movement of information, matter, and energy freely.
Mhm.
In the Indian system, that was known as vata. It's a very particular term from yoga. Okay. In the engineering system, it's known as transport. Fascinating, right? But without movement, the world doesn't work. The universe stops, right? It's frozen. The concept of truth is a concept of taking all sorts of wacky ideas and putting them through the mill of the scientific method. And through that process, you get truth. So it's a process of conversion, right? Well, in the Indian yogic system, was called pitta, the concept of conversion. In the engineering world, it was called conversion. Okay. Various things in nature convert things from one form to another.
Yes.
And the third aspect of our movement is health. Now, health is the infrastructure of you and your body. Without health, you can't fight for freedom.
Yeah.
You can't get to truth. Similarly, in the Indian system, that was known as kapha, the structural component, the skeletal structure of your body, the bones of the building. Right?
Kapha also sounds, because I'm from Spain. And kapha is like almost like a coffin, like a vessel, something that holds you.
It's a vessel. That's exactly what it is. So kapha is a vessel, right, that contains things.
See.
And in the engineering system, it's called the storage or the structural aspects. You see, so truth, freedom, health took me many, many years to understand that we have to build a movement that's founded on real natural laws. Otherwise, it's just bullshit. It's always going to fail. So this is not my thoughts. Truth, freedom, health is what the universe demands. The opposite is power, profit, control, which is what all these satanic people are about. They're about power, profit, control. That's why a scumbag like this Vivek prick can literally,
to say the least,
can literally overnight, right, think he can go buy a failed drug, know it's a useless drug, get his mother, right, to redo the data to make it appear that it's a good drug, take a lot of everyday people's money who all want to see Alzheimer's cured, take their money and then crash the stock, walk away with $50 million. That's a fucking slime bag. That's a satanic fucking individual.
Absolutely.
All right. Or you take someone like Trump, right? That's a ballless individual, right? He claims he wants to drain the swamp. Fauci, if anything, represents the swampiest of the swamp, right? He's been there since 1984. It's the first guy you should have asked. He got my letter. Marla Maples delivered to him. We had conversation with, so he knows everything. Not only does he not get rid of him, but gives him a commendation award.
Right? A lot of people didn't pay attention to that.
Yeah, all these stupid Trumpers. The stupid
It's funny
Trumpers.
because people always act, my own friends are like, oh my God, you're a Trumpster. I'm like, what are you talking about? I go, they literally forgot everything I've said for 20 years. Like with Obama coming in, I'm like, dude, they're all down in a basement or in tunnels having sex with each other. I'm like, and they would think I was crazy. I'm like, listen, Hillary, everyone's like, what's your problem with Hillary? I'm like, come on, guys, come on. Seriously, like this.
Well, Booby Kennedy endorsed her not once, not twice, 3 times.
Ooh.
So over here, they try to position, oh, he's fighting Monsanto. Here he endorsed Monsanto's queen. That's who Hillary Clinton is.
Right.
She was for vaccine mandates. So you got to understand, they don't give a fuck. They all hang out together. They all go to the exact same restaurants, the same equestrian shows. So all they are doing is, okay, I'm at 90.9 on the channel. Oh, then I go to this other channel. They're just giving you a different flavor. You can listen to rock, you can listen to country. They're just giving you different flavors to soothe you.
Mm.
And you think you have these different varieties, but they're all owned by the same station manager.
It's all games. It's all distraction.
Yep. And
But
it's a distraction against our movement, because our movement is the only movement on the face of the planet that has ever existed, organized in a community with the science, the engineering, the manpower, to basically, you know, end the slavery. Because the only way we're going to end the slavery is to recognize there's a physics, there's a science to how they enslave people. And I used all my knowledge and all the wherewithal I had, because I came from the lower castes of India, because I wanted to figure out how they enslaved my people, how they enslaved working class people. That was what my life was about. And I wanted to figure out that dynamic when I was a 12-year-old kid, when I went back to India. And I said, I have to figure this shit out. So I have spent my entire life understanding this, the engineering of how they do this. And I've uncovered it. And they use the science of systems. So they have a nuclear weapon of knowledge that they're using, and we're walking around with freaking twigs and stones.
I know.
So
Another thing, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm just dying for you because I want my audience to hear it as well, about how, like, so back in the day, so it's, one of the things that you say or you post is be the light. And if you even look at my website, I have where I say, with a Gandhi, which this is what I'm getting at. I'm getting at the whole Gandhi and the fact that he was implanted. But at the time I didn't know. But when he was like, be the change you want to see in the world, I was like, that's not, I don't know, something just intuitively didn't feel right for me. But what I did like is that I did know that we make a difference. So I had for years been saying, be the light that you want to see in the world. But it's funny that you'll sign off saying be the light. And I'm going, is this so weird? Because I've been doing it for 20 years, but go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So
Gandhi, can you, no.
Well, first of all, I think the message that we have is know the truth,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Find your way. You have to go through the process and be the light. You see, the thing is, you have to go through this process. Some people will have to, unfortunately, vote for Kennedy and get fucked again. Some people.
No, we don't have to.
That's what I'm saying. But some people who want it. So that's why Jimmy Dore exists. That fucking prick who got jabbed multiple times.
I know, not me.
And when I exposed Kennedy, he came onto my channel and says, "Oh, you're pathetic." So he defends Kennedy. This is the same guy who promoted Bernie for 20 years. And so he's an opportunist, you see? So now he goes against Bernie, and now he's got Bernie 2.0. What you got to understand is all of these people all will not expose the whole thing.
They won't expose the truth because they're part of it.
Yeah, because they have monetary reasons. They're their friends. Their friends know them. They all go to the Hamptons. They all go to, they all go to the same. They're in a club.
Well, they don't want to lose their income.
They don't want to lose their income. They don't want to lose their quote unquote friends, right?
Yeah, true.
So I have no ties to that. The people that I represent, our global movement, has no ties to that. And so we need to call it what it is. This is actually, you can call it a spiritual war, a deep systems war. So I want to walk you through. Can I share my screen?
Please, of course.
Yeah. So very briefly, to those people listening, we've distilled our message something to very simple. First of all, if people go to Shiva for President, Shiva numeral for president.com. Obviously, we want people to volunteer. We got to get on the ballot in many, many states. They can go to the shop and order gear. But one of the most powerful things that they can do, doesn't cost them anything, is to go to the download section, and they can get this flyer here. Now, this flyer is a pure weapon.
Yes.
And what this flyer is, it's obviously got our branding on top. It says Shatter the Swarm, has our URL. But one of the most important things it says is, a lesser of two evils is killing your children.
It's so true.
So Booby knows this. So he thinks he's going to run as an independent, but he's a fake independent. He's part of it. All right. And if you look at it closely, in all of this, we have a very simple message that your child's lifespan will be shorter than yours. And this is the most important graph that every parent, every adult who actually claims that they love their children should completely, look at and reflect on.
Yeah.
This red line is the life expectancy rate in the United States over the last 60 years. It's going upside down. Okay. And this started because of the policy starting with the Kennedys in the 60s, consolidated in the 70s. And this is what you have, an upside down umbrella. And if you notice, this curve is also going curvature downward. And this is the rest of the world. The rest of the world
That's
around
where we're at
here,
now.
Yeah. The rest of the world is also going to start going like this around here. Right.
Yeah.
So this is by design. And the reason this curve is going downward is because it is by design. It's not any one thing. It's not the vaccines. It's not any one thing. It's a bunch of policies that they put in place that have literally affected your physiology. So we educate people on that, Olga, right? So it's a very simple flyer. Everyone, you can go here, print it, go to your
Download it. Yeah.
libraries, download it, print it. You don't have to print it in color. And then the left side, they can just go to this website, shattertheswarm.com, or use a QR code.
Scan the
They
code.
will
Yeah.
get a 15-minute education that took me 50 years. So instead of spending 50 years and 15 minutes, they will understand who the enemy is from an engineering, simple, deep perspective without losing any things. So the left side really explains to you what is a problem and who is behind the problem, right? So think about how powerful this weapon is just with this much real estate that we've done on an 8.5 by 11. Then the right side gives you the solution. Well, first of all, my running for office, our movement is the only force that can really save your children. There's a campaign video. And then what you have to do. Well, you can get this flyer and download it. You can get one of our bumper stickers, right?
Yes.
But it's important that you understand theory. So we've created the Truth, Freedom, Health. It's a movement. It's a community. It's knowledge. It's a university. It's all those things. You can go to truthfreedomhealth.com and get educated, right? And you can understand the same science that the elites learn, the same science Soros uses against you or Kissinger.
Yeah, they got the memo, right? So they're, as long as we don't get it, they continue. But the thing is,
and then we invite people to our open house. Okay.
Oh yeah, you do that Tuesdays and Thursdays, correct?
Yeah, and what we do at our open house, Olga, we don't say, when I become president, I'm going to do this. We actually give you the solution for healthcare. We give you the solution for the environment. We give you the solution for education and innovation and governance and economy, because the government ain't going to solve anything. No. So our movement has actual solutions. The right side has identified the real problem on the left side. So we've made it easy. This is like, if you don't want to read all of Shakespeare, we have the Cliff Notes here, right? It's all done for you. So that's what Truth, Freedom, Health is about. It's literally, it's not just an education. It's
empowerment.
It's movement. It's a union of working people all over the world. We exist to recognize that we need a bottoms-up movement, and we need to take back all of this. And it cannot happen overnight. It's going to have to require study and commitment, and people have to work. And we haven't been working. Voting on every 2 or 4 years for one of these scumbags is going to do nothing. It's going to perpetuate that curve going down, and more and more children. Your child, right? If you have a child, your child is going to have a shorter lifespan than yours. And if that doesn't wake you up, then you're basically should just join those people and be part of their swarm.
I used to try to help everyone, but now I'm going, look, if they're that idiotic or whatever, I'm like, I'm over it. I'm like, you know what? Maybe the elites, in quote, the self-called elites, maybe they, like maybe we don't need you. Like when they call us useless eaters, right? I'm like, some people, it's like, you know what? You go do you go do that. But I got another question, because it's one of the first things because I talk about you all the time. I talk about you in most of my streams, but behind the scenes, even more. I'm like totally like full tard with it, because every time I'm like, Dr.SHIVA, oh no, right? And I'll send a picture like, oh, I've seen him somewhere, but they don't remember it. Whatever it is. First thing they ask me when I say, well, I've talked about him forever. Well, he's running for president. And they go, he can't be president. And I'm like, and you've already made several videos. I've seen your clips, but they're too lazy to get out there. Even when I send them the link, I'm like, did you watch it? No. So would you please tell everyone why you can? I already know the answer. And it was before you, because my dad was in the Navy, but I was born in Naples, Italy. So a lot of people are like, well, you weren't born in the US. I'm like, you're in it. Okay. Not to be insulting.
Yeah.
You clearly don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But please tell us, why can you be president of the United States?
Yeah, so let me sort of walk through this. All right.
Thank you.
So if John's listening, John can probably use this for a clip, because we like to do little clips. And
I love it. Go ahead, share it with me. I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah. So let's start with the following. And I think I can bring this. Oh, great. Okay.
Thank you, because it's so annoying. That's the first thing anybody says. I'm like, but Kennedy, the criminal mafia, that guy who barely even buried his wife, who's had a sex addiction issues and shit, This guy, no questions
You know
asked.
what the story came out is that when she was hanging, she had her hand behind the rope, like as though she was trying to take it off.
I didn't know
Okay.
that part of the
Yeah,
story.
yeah, you can look into it. Just do a little work,
Oh,
right?
I will. I will.
But okay, so the Constitution is a document, right?
Mhm.
But more importantly, the Constitution represents, it is the embodiment of history, historical change that has taken place. It embodies that. It's very important for people to understand. The Constitution embodies implicitly and explicitly a body of processes of how the United States will operate, right? That's what it really is. It's a framework, but it's also a systems process.
You know, I live in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
And I
Heather,
used to be a translator. I mean, that's another story. But anyway, and I've translated the Independence Bell. Do you know the bell with the crack is not even the original bell?
I remember that when I visited there. They
You
said that.
visited Philly?
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No worries, Olga. But I think what people need to understand is, again, let me think about the Constitution as an explicit and implicit representation of everything that has taken place, the decisions that were made from the time of 1776 to today.
Right.
Okay. 1787 is when the Articles of Confederation really come to be. Okay. That was the first, you can think about the first part of this process, right? The Articles of Confederation. Now, the article concerning the qualifications of president, right? Section 2, Article 1, or Article 2, Section 1, right? Clause 5, basically says the following. It says you have to be a natural born citizen. You have to be here 35 years, and you have to be here, I think, 20, you have to be a resident for 20 years, okay? All right, that's what it says.
That's what it says.
That was written at a time when a revolution had just taken place. It was a fledgling democracy, and they were afraid that the King of England would have a son who would come to the United States and then try to seize power. All right, so that's now a lot of the notes of why they did natural born or what natural born meant is really not there. It wasn't written down. Now, there's some evidence that in common law, the concept was jus soli, which means of the soil, or jus sanguinis, which means of the blood. Okay.
Sanguinis,
So,
yeah, Latin.
yeah. So these things were out there in the ether when they were writing a lot of this, but they never defined natural born. It gets even more interesting. The Marquis de Lafayette, who was a Frenchman who fought on the side of the Americans against the British,
I remember that.
born in France. Okay. The Maryland legislature suddenly said, we're going to make him a natural born citizen of the United States. So he's not born here.
Right.
And all of his children and all of his heirs until time immemorial. The point I'm making is even at that time, it wasn't defined what natural born meant.
Right.
As it may be. Okay, there's that. The implicit understanding may have been someone who's born here physically. Okay. All right. But remember, some of the founders weren't born here.
That's right. That's a fact.
Right? But they were made at the time of the colonies, they were made citizens of some of the colonies. And there was a carve out there said if you were already a citizen, doesn't mean you were born here, you get to be, you can also run for president. Okay. Then
I'm with you.
After that, various amendments were passed. First of all, you had the Bill of Rights. Now, the First Amendment, by in and of itself, it says political speech is the highest protected form of speech. Anyone, and it's going to sound a little bit weird, but it's the fact. Anyone can run for any office just by the fact of the First Amendment, the right to speech. A daughter.
No, it doesn't sound weird. That's absolutely right. If it's absolute, that
doesn't mean you can be president, but
Yeah.
you can go out handing out flyers saying, I'm running. It's your right to speech.
Right.
Now, the articles also said only he can be president. Okay. So if you follow that and you're a nincompoop who doesn't just sees that in a vacuum, you'll say, oh, women can't be president. Okay. You'll say, oh, natural born is this. Oh, they can't be. But many things have occurred since 1787. We had the Bill of Rights. Then we had a very important thing called the Bill of Rights had something called due process, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Fifth Amendment. And then we had the 14th Amendment.
Oh, don't get me started.
The 14th Amendment has the Equal Protection Clause.
Yeah.
Okay. And the 14th Amendment and the subsequent court rulings after the 14th Amendment, which were at the state level, right? Equal protection at the state, reciprocated it to the Fifth Amendment, that basically the Fifth Amendment became the 14th Amendment on the national level. And the 14th Amendment, basically the Fifth and the 14th are reciprocal at the national, at the state level. Simply put, after the 14th Amendment, there were many, many court rulings, right? So you have to look at the court rulings combined with the Constitution in whole, because they set precedents, clearly made it unequivocal that it is unconstitutional to have two tiers of citizens. Equal protection clause. In fact, it makes it very clear a naturalized citizen cannot be different than a natural born citizen.
That's right.
Absolutely clear.
Yes.
And there's been many, many rulings on this.
Thank you.
The 19th Amendment, which was the right for women to vote and all this, applied the 14th Amendment. That's why women can run for president. Okay. You see, everything's built on each other. It's an interconnected system. So, according to the original articles, a woman could not be president. It said he.
That's true.
Because
That's
at that
true.
time, and it also said natural born, but the Marquis de Lafayette is not natural born. But the 14th Amendment has substantially changed that, right? And
But, they're trying to change everything, right? They're
Yeah.
literally, I mean, they're not following the Constitution as of now. They're
Yeah,
not.
yeah, exactly. And Paul Clark is a leading, he wrote this for the UIC Law Review, and he wrote this many years ago. This is well known among scholars that it violates due process, it's unconstitutional, right?
Mhm.
So this thesis has been written there, as you can see. Let me go back, and we have not only every right to run for president. In 2011, the FEC, the governing body which manages elections, put it in black and white, stated in their official legal opinion that anyone can run, any naturalized citizen can run for president and can collect donations, period. It's done. So I can run separate. I don't even need them, but just separate from everything else.
Yeah.
Told you. And I can also be president because of the 14th Amendment. It's unconstitutional. Now, the problem is most people assume something is true, right? And they just move on their merry way, including Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's has very bad lawyers, and he himself isn't that bright, okay? So the bottom line is not only can I run, not only can a naturalized citizen run, but you can also be president. It's absolutely unconstitutional. So we're going to get on the ballot in every state. And I have preemptively, just to be clarified, has sued Merrick Garland, the Attorney General of the United States. And we have asked the courts to direct Merrick Garland to, it's called a declaratory relief. And I've done my own lawsuits with people. Lawyers, most of them suck. If not all of them. They always sell you out. And that's what we saw in our own lawsuit, but earlier lawsuit after we were winning. So here's that. And it's a very tight lawsuit, which makes it very, very clear. It's Ayadure. It's my last name versus Garland. Okay. And you can see it makes it very clear. And I think I should be able to bring this up. I may need to put it. Can you see that?
Yeah. Can you?
Yeah. So this is you can see the actual lawsuit, right? Dr. Shiva, plaintiff. So I filed this on June 21st. Okay. And we'll be serving Merrick Garland shortly.
I didn't know this. I follow you and everything, but I don't remember seeing this.
Right. Yeah. So we have filed a lawsuit, which basically says it's a declaratory relief that we want the courts to direct, just like Brown versus Board of Ed, right? That a black child should be able to go to a public school.
Right.
This enforce the law. We want him to enforce the law that if anyone tries to stop me from getting on the ballot, that's a violation of the Constitution. Okay. So that's what we've done. This is all put out there, and it has three major claims in it, right? Count one, count two. So we're taking my run very seriously. It's not only for me, but to defend the Constitution, defend the fact that you can't have two tiers of citizenship. That's freaking discriminatory, right?
Yeah.
This was already decided. Maybe maybe I should go back into a caste system. Maybe people want all naturalized citizens drinking from a different water fountain.
No, let me tell you
Right.
something. So growing up in Spain, my cousin, born and raised in Spain, he was an intellect. And he had told me when I was, I don't know, maybe 13, 14. And he goes, he would always bust my chops because it was always a competition. Like Americans are shit. Americans, they're stupid. Americans, they all eat from cans. And my dad was in the Navy anyway. He had retired. My parents opened businesses in Spain. And I would talk to him like, so let me see. And he said that the Spanish Constitution was basically a photocopy of the American Constitution. I'm like, so you're busting my balls all day, or not balls, but whatever. You get my point. But what's your issue? What's your issue? He's like, I'm just saying, like, I want you to know I know. So I go, so you guys want to be American. You want to be like Americans, So I grew up with all this tension. Also because not nothing like you with the caste system, but very similar. No, okay, maybe not very similar. No, your shit was heavier. But I want my audience to understand, because I've never been political and I've never been into this, but I'm always into truth and I'm always into empowerment and always fighting the system or fighting what's right or wrong, like stand up for yourself, stand up. So you came here, I believe, 11 years old. No, 7. You were 7.
No, I can't. I literally left India on my 7th birthday. Literally on my 7th birthday.
On December 2nd.
Yeah.
Oh, so I want my audience to hear that, just like me, that I grew up over there. And with 2020, I was like, I can't ignore this anymore. I can't. Before, everyone's like, oh, Go always has predictions. She's always right. But I'm going, I've lost all these friends. I mean, you name it, especially with the jab. They're like, well, why don't you just do it? I'm like, are you out of your mind? I'm like, so maybe they didn't do their research. Maybe they trust the government, whatever it is. People would say to me, but Olga, I'm fine. Look at me. Look at my wife. Look at my friends. Like, we're all fine. I'm telling you, if something's going to happen, it's going to happen to me. Number one, I go, but second of all, I go, it's in my core, my gut, that if I let them touch my body, I'll never forgive myself, even if I don't have any injuries. But I go, but my luck, I probably would. I'm like, I'm just going, and I lost all these clients. I've lost a lot of money over this. And I still stand my ground. I don't regret it. And now they're all coming back with some crazy stories. And I don't want to, shut anybody out. But anyway, back to 7 years old from a caste system. So I understand getting beat up, getting picked on because I was half American, half Spanish. And I don't know if most people know this, but my full name is Olga Schmutz Perez, because in Europe we use both last names, first the father and the mother. And the only reason it's Olga S. Perez is because people would Google me and they're like, we can't find you, because they couldn't spell schmutz. So that's why I did the S, but I wouldn't take the S out because I'm proud of my schmutz. Or as in German, they would say schmutz. And when I lived in German, they're like, Fräulein Schmutz, you should get married. Should, with obviously a German accent, I'm doing horrible. I'm like, never. I'm proud of myself. Because all the fights, all the shit that I went through, that would be another day if ever you have time. But your time is precious. And before, I got 1 minute left, and I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this, because your time, like I said, I don't take it for granted. One, let me let you finish about the caste system shit. Sorry, done.
Yeah. So the caste system, simply put, is your place in society. Is about where you're born, but it's actually enumerated, right? So the government actually has, these people will do this job. These people are garbage pickers. These people are shit cleaners. These people pick coconuts. These people get to be lawyers. They actually have designations by your birth. Okay. Now, the original concept of the caste system from a spiritual perspective was the Brahmins were the topmost caste. But a Brahmin just meant somebody who was learned, who applied themselves, became a scholar, right? Was a fighter, was a warrior, was all these wonderful things.
I thought it had to do also with skin color. Am I incorrect?
Well, so the original was not that, okay?
The original.
And then over years, it devolved into a system where, if I'm a Brahmin, my son gets to be a Brahmin, even though he could be a fucking idiot, okay? If I'm a shit cleaner, your son should be a shit cleaner. You say?
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
So they created this caste system called the Brahmins, and then they had the business folks. I'm sorry, the warriors, the business folks, and the people who worked, and then the bottommost people. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we were considered the bottommost people, where the job was to pick coconuts. And that's what the lineage was supposed to be, right? You literally were supposed to do this. So the fact that my parents broke from that is quite extraordinary.
Yes.
Right? And made it over here. Most of the Indians most people see here, particularly came at that early time, are all Brahmins. Okay. When I first came, so I experienced a caste system as a child. My mom shared with me how even more deeper it was when she grew up, right? But the bottom line is, it was based on a birth lottery. It had nothing to do with your merits. So one of the reasons my parents came to the United States was because you worked hard and you achieved stuff, right? It wasn't based on where you were born.
Right.
And my mom would say in India, you could get discriminated 10 different ways. In the United States, I've shared this before, like 3 or 4 times, right? 3 or 4 different ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had a better shot here. But the United States is now a caste system.
Oh, yeah.
If you look at every of these spawns of Satan running for office, they're all from the swarm. They're all Brahmins, quote unquote. In fact, in Boston, they call it the Boston Brahmins, right? The elite. And that was a term that was used all the way during the 1700s, right? So the concept of Brahmins as the upper caste has always been around in the English language, not only applying to India. So now we have Brahmins who run the world. They're a multiracial aristocracy, a global aristocracy of people who think they're better. And you could be a fucking idiot like Jared Kushner and his father, because of all the scamming he did. His son did. And you could be a moron like Ivanka Trump, and she gets that. You could be a cokehead like Hunter Biden. You say it doesn't matter, left or right, or a douchebag like Fucker Carlson who follows.
It's the same aristocracy. It's the same thing that they supposedly liberated themselves from England.
Right. So all of them, be it Hunter Biden, be it Jared Kushner, be it Fucker Carlson, be it Booby Kennedy, be it Tulsi Gabbard, they all come from the same swarm. So that's why they despise me so much, because I was supposed to have become one of them. So once in a while, they'll go and rake up, people from below. They'll elevate them, but they want them, Olga, to become part of them.
Of course.
And what's
like a drug addict. Hey, come on, you want to do a line of coke? And I'm like, no, thank you. But you know what I mean? Like, they feel better, like, once you do it.
Right. So what's interesting is there's a very interesting article that during, when I was a kid, I created the first email system, wrote all the code, named it email, have the copyright. It's actually, there's not even a gray area on this. When it went into the Smithsonian, 33 years later, it created a quote unquote controversy. Now, in those 33 years, I'd gone to MIT, created many, many inventions, right? Was on the front page of MIT. I was their model minority. But when this went into the Smithsonian, it created a fabricated controversy. Why? Because email by the fax was created before I came to MIT. You see, out of the swarm institutions, you see? Yeah. So when you go to MIT, you get anointed to be part of the upper caste. And then you can be even a dropout. Then you can
anointed.
Right. But the problem they had was I had created email before I came to MIT. So if I can share this, there's a wonderful website everyone should go to called Who Invented Email. Okay. And this was after we won our close to $1 million lawsuit against Gawker Media, which attempted to.
Didn't they defame you or try to defame you or
something? Yeah. So my attorney said, after our win, we built this website. Now, what's important to understand here is the original people were there that saw me invent email. And I don't know if we have time. You have time that I can read this?
I have time. I had dropped everything for you, Dr.
Let me just read this. So this is about the invention of email. Yeah. And this will pretty much tell you the grammatical caste system we have and why these people are so concerned about my running for president. And it says, look, the invention of email in Newark, New Jersey, Newark is one of the poor states, by the way, cities in the United States still, reveals fundamental truths about the nature of innovation and exposes the quote unquote histories and propaganda of the quote unquote golden triangle of the military industrial academic complex, whose multi-trillion-dollar brand advertises itself as a source of all revolutionary innovations. Such propaganda are constructed and packaged by those consecrated as historians, okay, who hone this branding to brainwash humanity that war brings good things to life. This cabal anoints and exalts its quote unquote innovators like Elon Musk. The fucker hasn't created anything, okay?
Yeah.
Predominantly whites and a few persons of color who pledge to its hegemony of innovation. The indisputable facts of the invention of email in 1978 by, V.A. Shiva, a 14-year-old, dark-skinned, lower caste Indian immigrant prodigy, working as, by the way, this article was put together by Debbie Nightingale, a professor at MIT, Sen Song, another researcher, Marty Fuhrman, Dr. Corson, and Dr. Michelson, who was there at the university when I created this, okay? So it says, the indisputable facts of the invention of email in 1978 by Shiva Idure, a 14-year-old dark-skinned lower caste Indian immigrant prodigy working as a research scholar at the University of Medicine Dentistry in Newark, defy such quote-unquote histories. The boy's invention, the first electronic system, that's a key word, replicated the complex and myriad functions of the inner office interorganizational paper-based mail system. Inbox, outbox, memo, address book. See, there's this complex paper-based system, which he named email, was motivated by his desire to create and do the impossible. Email was invented to digitize the entire system of civilian office communications, not just exchange text messages reliably for military battlefield communications. Email was the first end-user software application that made the digital revolution accessible to ordinary people who had never experienced a computer, keyboard, or terminal. Idure's evolution, and this is where it gets interesting, Olga, as an inventor and scientist, continued far beyond email. When I was 14, she was completing 4 degrees at MIT, receiving worldwide acclaim and being exalted as an innovator during his 33 years at MIT. While within their triangle, you see?
Yes.
He served their needs as a penultimate ambassador and model minority, right? To enhance their, MIT's image of inclusivity, diversity, and equality. However, when the Smithsonian requested and obtained artifacts documenting email's origin in 1978 in Newark on February 16, 2012, and when Iodure accepted this great American honor, he unwittingly pitted himself against their brand. The cabal unleashed disinformation, claiming email was created before 1978. When these claims were debunked and Iodure continued sharing facts, the attacks escalated to a public lynching, revealing an insidious side of racism. And this is what I'm talking about this caste system, which exalts persons of color when needed and expels and annihilates them when they challenge false histories and propaganda. You see, Obama fell in line. You see, Vivek the Snake fell in line. He's one of their boys. You see, email did emerge from a collaboration, but not from their triangle, which is a military-industrial complex, but organically in a local and an indigenous.
They're not smart. It's like they're not even talented. For God's sake.
And this pretty much says it all. You say, organically in a local and indigenous ecosystem of a small medical college,
I gotta put my glasses
brilliant
on.
young boy, committed teachers, right? A loving family and a dedicated mentor. This is the real triangle. You say, solved a civilian problem, exemplifying countless other innovations across millennia, inspired to advance life and not retrofitted from technologies intended to maim and kill. Such histories are deliberately not documented to perpetuate lies that war is good.
Wait, I think you got to scroll, Dr. Shiva. I don't see what you're reading.
Oh, you're not?
No. I mean, am I lost in the sauce?
Yeah, I think. Hold on.
The last thing I saw was like advanced, like the last on the paragraph was advanced something.
Okay, hold on. Let me go.
Everything you were reading, I'm like, I don't see it. Because I literally zoomed in to make.
Hold on. Do you see that?
Wait, you're not sharing again. Hold on.
You can see that. You can see that, right?
Just share it again. I don't have it on the thing to share it.
Right there.
On my end, sorry.
You see it, right?
Okay. Now I see it. Thank you. Sorry.
Yes, I was just
reading. I put my glasses. I'm like, maybe I can't see.
So anyway, this is an essay that was written by a bunch of people. It says, such histories are deliberately not documented to perpetuate lies that war is good and to mask its rapacious profits. Documenting the invention of email in Newark, New Jersey, therefore, is a historical imperative towards breaking this diabolical trance. To reveal a fundamental truth, innovation can occur anytime, any place, by anybody, and war and profit are not necessary in its required impetus. Okay?
Absolutely not.
So
yes.
why this is important is that we live in a modern, and this is what came out of that whole journey, another injustice I had to fight, right? Not only the caste system, but I mean, it's beyond a shadow of a doubt that I created email. But the real question is why there was a controversy these people created, why all this hell was unleashed. and reveals the fact that we have a caste system in the United States now, that after you go to MIT, after you go to Harvard and you drop out, like Bill Gates or Zuckerberg, then you're anointed as an inventor. You see, you're in their club. But the problem they had, Olga, was I created email before I came to MIT, and I'm still alive.
You did at 14.
And I'm still alive, and all the facts are there. Okay. So this is a real problem for them. And this other scumbag, Walter Isaacson, who comes out of the Aspen Institute, who is really the leader of the white liberal bourgeois movement. He writes the histories. He did the book on Steve Jobs. He just did the book on making Musk look like he's some great inventor. But Walter Isaacson, in the middle of this controversy in 2014, wrote a book called Innovators of the Digital Revolution. And he purposely and intentionally conceals, he doesn't even discuss the invention of email. I mean, this is a big, thick book talking about the internet and all the great things. Why do you leave out email? You see, and everyone in there are not only white people, but they're all white people from the military industrial complex.
Right.
So you have to leave out that 14-year-old kid because it blows away their thesis that all great innovations must come from the upper caste.
Right.
You see,
right.
from the Brahmins. That's what this is about. So the invention of email is a very important story because it blows this satanic model that only these people can run for president. So my run for president is for all of us because it exposes, number one, it's a violation of the Constitution not to allow me to run. So everyone better become a real American. Read the fucking Constitution. I have every right to run. I've always been kept out of competitions, Olga, because they were so jealous and afraid of me. When I was 8th grade and I came to the United States, I was a #1 student.
I know.
The teachers voted
I'm just like,
as an out of a competition.
Yeah.
Because afraid I would win.
Yeah.
All the Zionist teachers, literally.
I know. I mean,
for the children of God. So I'm saying when we got all the signatures to get on the debate stage, when I ran against Elizabeth Warren, the Democrats and Republicans colluded. They didn't want me on the debate stage. I mean, my life has been fighting the fucking injustice of an ordinary person who comes bottoms up. They do not want to give us the limelight because it'll expose the fact that they're all cheaters. They're all satanic people, that everything they've gotten is not from hard work.
No.
Everything they've gotten is from sliminess.
Lying, cheating. Lying.
I mean, I actually work for everything I got, be it my degrees, be it my businesses, all of it. Booby fucking Kennedy has never worked for anything. Anything.
Well, he's a lawyer.
Doesn't work for anything. None of these people. What's that?
Isn't he a lawyer?
Yeah, but none of these people have ever had to work.
I'm just saying, and how do we know? Because I fought the system, and when I couldn't get a grade or whatever, I'm like, why not? And I would get the grade because I fought the system.
Yeah.
But in the sense that people, they think you have a title and they think you really worked for it. Oh, come on. Like everybody.
Booby Kennedy couldn't pass the bar multiple times. Okay.
Ha! I knew it. I mean, I didn't know. Thank you for telling me because I had this feeling like that guy did not go. No, he did not. He did not put the work and take the test and pass.
He spit he learned how to spit in the face of policemen, and while he's drunk and shit. So all these people, if I did that, I'd be in jail.
Yeah.
So all these people have a different set of rules. And the people who support them, I notice, are white liberal males and bougie moms who jab their kids and are guilty and want to bang him and suck him off or something. And want to give him money. No, seriously. It's
true. It's true.
That's who these people
are. I
know
what you're saying, because when my friends, my family, my groups hear me, they're like, how do you know that? I'm like, you guys aren't reading. You're not even trying. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, what it is they're not work. They want to, they become part of the swarm. They apply these values that, everything should come free and you want to be a celebrity and you want to be part of this nonsense. But anyway, there you go. So anyway, I think the key point I wanted to share is that everyone on that debate stage who's up there, and that's why they intentionally conceal our movement, is because we are not satanic people. We're not spawns of Satan. Every one of them is organized crime. They're 1 degree or 0 degrees of freedom away from organized criminals. Every one of them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be out there. They've cheated, they've lied, they've stolen, they've murdered, every one of those people, either directly or indirectly. And that's who they are. So people really have a huge opportunity, because what I want people to do is to go to shivaforpresident.com. It's a couple of very simple things we give people to do. Go get one of these bumper stickers and put it on the back of the car. Why? Because most people work for a living. They don't have the opportunity to go hang out at some shindigs, but it's a $5 investment, right? And when you put this on the back of your car, you're basically saying fuck you to them. And you are advertising this to 100,000 people per day. It's the simplest way to be an activist, right? The other thing is people should go to shivaforpresident.com and download this flyer, which educates people. You overnight become an educator. Keep them in your wallet, keep in your glove compartment, go to your grocery store, hand them out. You are now educating people what they have done to your children, and that we need a systems overhaul. And then finally, everyone should go to Truth Freedom Health. And by the way, if you donate to me, I never like to ask for money, but if you donate, I give you stuff. You know, I give you thousands of dollars worth of courses, books, content, so you can educate yourself. And you go through those courses and you can give it away, by the way, to as many people as you want, particularly children, free. So the goal is we need to build a bottoms-up movement, but a movement is not going to emerge unless you get the proper training. It's like saying, I want to go be an aircraft pilot. Well, you got to get the training. If you want to be a revolutionary and you want to really create a very powerful revolution to destroy this caste system and destroy these satanic people, you have to understand the physics. Otherwise, you may have a lot of talent. You may think you know it, and your ego is going to get in your way, and you're going to follow one day Trump, you're going to follow one day Obama, you're going to follow one day the devil, like Kennedy's or Vivek the Snake, whoever the fuck it is, right? And then you'll wake up 20, 30, 40 years later and you'll say, what the fuck did I do? So that's the opportunity people have. Truthfreedomhealth.com is where you can actually become a warrior scholar. And we made it accessible to all. And John will put this up on our feed, every Thursdays at 11 a.m. and at 8 p.m., come to our open house. You can go to vashiva.com/orientation or to our town hall, which we do at 8 p.m., shivaforpresident.com/town hall. Sign up. It's free. We discuss different topics. You know, we're going to discuss this Thursday about how the financial system actually works. I would say less than 0.0001% people really know how it works. None of those satanic presidential candidates can even explain it. But
no,
if you want to understand how so you will learn. And once you learn this, as a friend of mine said, first you will want to vomit. Then you will get pretty enraged and you'll realize why I curse so much, because you realize the vileness of these people and why we need a systems overhaul. And so you'll learn that, you know, and then we're going to talk about, you know, ultimately how, you know, on the evening session, how we actually end the real racism, which divides black and white. You know, everyone talks about unity. Unity is only going to come once we separate the wheat from the chaff. It may sound like a contradiction.
No.
But unity is going to come when we divide us from them, the 0.001% from the rest of humanity, which actually works for a living.
So Dr. Shiva.
Yeah.
What's your passion? Why are you doing all this?
Why am I doing all this?
Yeah.
Because I fucking hate these people and I love my people. That's why. It's very simple. I hate these satanic individuals. They're snakes. They're not even human. I would even, you know, I would like to put something out there.
Please.
It's going to sound crazy. It would be really interesting for every presidential candidate to do a DNA test and to see who they really are.
Their bloodline?
Yeah, I think we should do that. I think really we should do a complete bloodline analysis of all of these people. It'd be fascinating, I think.
It would be. Well,
they're not one of us.
No, of course they're not.
Because if they did, they'd all be distributing this flyer out there.
That's right.
Because they don't give a fuck that your child's lifespan is going to be less than yours, right? And I'm the only one doing that because I come from these people. I care. And it is us versus them. Don't anyone tell you, oh, we need to unite. When they speak unity, that means they want to shove all the contradictions under the rug. We're not going to let them do that. There is no unity here as long as you have curves like this of lifespan going down. We don't want unity with them.
Well said, Dr. Shiva. Thank you so much for your time, for your love, for your passion, your light.
Thank you, Olga.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you. I can't. I know.
Hey, John, John is going to to everyone listening on our stream, John's going to finish playing the, our presidential video. I mean,
I would love that.
do you want him to play it here?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Hey, John, I think you're going to have to share
If
Olga's.
you don't mind, John, as soon as you pop it up, I'm going to share it.
Okay. Okay. I can do it here. Let me go to shivaforpresident.com. Okay. And if people want to, so I can go here, Olga. I think I have to share screen. I got the audio. All right. So people go to shivaforpresident.com. You'll see there's this nice big video here. And this is our campaign video. And we'll come right back, Olga.
Okay.
Who would have ever thought I'd be running for president of the United States of America? I was born a low caste untouchable in India's caste system, a system of aristocracy, oppression, and racism. My name is Dr.SHIVA Ayyadurai. I'm an MIT PhD, a Fulbright scholar, a scientist, engineer, entrepreneur, and inventor. My family and I left India to come to America on my 7th birthday. I grew up in the working class neighborhoods of New Jersey, playing baseball, mowing lawns, painting houses, and coding software. My friends and neighbors are Blacks, Italians, Irish, people of all races. As a 14-year-old, I wrote 50,000 lines of software code to create the world's first email system and was awarded the first U.S. copyright for email, recognizing me as its official inventor at a time when copyright was the only way to protect software inventions. I did that long before I ever came to MIT, revealing that big innovations can occur anytime, any place, by anybody. Growing up, I saw politicians dividing us by race and religion in both America and India, to have us fighting each other while they remain safe in their gated communities and in their playgrounds of Hollywood, Martha's Vineyard, and Silicon Valley. I'm a fighter. I fought racism and exposed their imperialist wars, fought for workers, and put my life on the line against global corruption. I never wanted to run for political office. All that changed when I saw working Americans as never before being duped by the establishment and the not so obvious establishment. Across left and right, we were being sold out and made to forget why we came to America and why America existed. Lawyers, academics, billionaires, celebrities, and politicians, elites, Clintons, Kennedys, Bidens, Obamas, Bushes, black and white have hijacked America. They printed trillions for their friends. They delivered crumbling infrastructure, corruption, and racism. They've transferred trillions to themselves, dividing black and white, fear-mongering, and fake science, lockdowns and censorship, dirty air, food, and water, pushing drugs upon us, making us sicker. We've been sold out. One set of rules for them and another for us. We deserve a warrior with a history of courage and putting everything on the line for you, who believes in you, not them, who has created a movement bottoms up for truth, freedom, health. I've exposed their lies at the right time, never waiting until it was popular. I've exposed their false gods who exist to lead you back to them. I've exposed their fake science of lockdowns and masking and provided you solutions to fight them and win and protect your immune system, saving millions. I exposed Fauci, galvanized the Fire Fauci campaign when others remained silent. When they stole our election, we sued the government and Twitter in our historic 2020 federal lawsuit, exposing in bare view the government and big tech censorship infrastructure, the unholy alliance between government and social media companies. Where was Elon and his grifters? They stood by the sidelines and did nothing. They did not use their megaphones to help us when it could have made a big difference. Now our movement grows for truth, freedom, health, independent of all of them. Every day, millions are learning the science of systems, the knowledge the elites do not want you to have, so you may learn how to think, stand up, and fight, independent of the establishment of left and right and their fake heroes. Now it's time for you to join the movement, to win back America, to win back truth, win back freedom, win back your health. That's why I'm running for president of the United States. This race is about you. This race is about truth, freedom, health versus power, profit, control. We've had enough. They think we'll fall in line and vote again for their lawyers, celebrities, billionaires, and chosen ones from above. We choose our heroes from below, from the rank and file, who do what is right at the right time, not when it's convenient and popular. They can never represent us. What America needs is a movement by the working people, for the working people, who are educated, organized, decentralized, and fight for independence from their systems of control. And that movement exists. It's ready for you. We don't need them. We need us to go bottoms up, neighbor to neighbor. My journey, your journey are all the same. It's our time. It's time we had one of us. It's time to win back truth, freedom, health, to win back America. Be part of this historic movement all the way to our victory on November 5th, 2024. If you're an American citizen, pledge your vote now for Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai, the independent candidate for U.S. president. No matter where you live, you can be a part of this. Volunteer as little as 20 minutes a day. Don't delay. This is Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai, and I approve this message, paid for by Dr. Shiva for President.
Hello, welcome back. That was
How
awesome.
are you?
I love that
All
video.
right. All good. That was great. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Be well. Best to you. Be the light. Thank you.
Too. Hope to talk to you
Take
soon.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Yeah, same to you.
Thank you.